I learned that from Dame and CJ. They'll step like halfway outside your frame and then get you leaning back and go the other way. If my crossover into a heavy pull looks exactly like I'm gonna go downhill on you, you're gonna lean. You become very hard to guard because now you don't know.
The game is really simple. We just know how to access it out of the smallest of margins.
Yeah.
It's so important to have live reps. That way you're working the mentality side of your game, how to process and read and react.
Yeah, exactly.
Defenders can only play like 4 types of defense. How best does my game translate into the defender plays pressure defense?
100%.
Okay, now I need to learn what works best for me.
Yeah.
So we get a bunch of questions, a bunch of people asking like, how do you break down your defender? How do you score on your defender? How do you get by your defender? I know you guys always ask me because you always see me getting by X all the time scoring on him. But I wanted to give you just a different perspective. X, what do you look at like most? Like for me, like I always look at I look at feet a ton, or like use soft focus to look at feet to dictate like which direction I go. But what do you look at most when you're trying to break down a defender or get by a defender? Huge shout out to DraftKings for making this video possible. I know this is not a basketball in my hands, but this football right here can make you a little bit of money. In honor of Big Game 56, DraftKings is offering this amazing promo. For every new customer that bets $5, you get a chance to win $280 if your team wins. That's 56 to 1 odds. Even if DraftKings Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you still have something to play for. Everyone can play for their share of millions of dollars in total prizes using DraftKings daily fantasy football contests. Click that link in the description box right down there. Make sure you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use promo code Lawley, and you get a chance to win $280 in free bets if your team on the big game is victorious. That's promo code Lawley on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL.
Kind of same thing, feet. My first jab is to see if I can back that top foot up. If I can get that that top foot to back up a little bit, then I have you at bay. I can do whatever I want. As soon as you bring that top foot back up, I attack that top foot because it's momentum. We're just using, somebody's momentum against them. And, with us, it's like the smallest space. Like I just need a little bit of space. And people look at, oh, he's playing great defense, and a guy's still hitting tough shots. But for me, I just need a little bit. If I can get a little bit of space to get into my shots, they're good shots for me.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing that I look at is feet, backing up feet. Certain defenders like to lean forward. Boy, they are crazy. Just your momentum. If a guy's leaning forward, using that momentum against them, we work on a lot taking that hand down. Because as soon as I take that hand down, it's a momentum thing again. Get a guy leaning forward and falling over. So feet. And just that lean, if guys are sitting back or if they're leaning forward, just kind of using that to your advantage.
I think another huge thing, another point of emphasis you're saying too, is being confident in who you are with your scoring abilities. Like, you know how much space you need in order to get the shot off, whether it's half an inch versus an inch.
Exactly.
You know that like as soon as that moment comes, you can get the ball from your shot pocket into a shot faster than that individual.
Yeah.
And another thing that you do extremely well is you have your fakes look exactly like your actual actions.
Exactly. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
If you can make your moves and your fakes literally look like, if my shot fake literally looks like my jump shot, you're gonna jump 90% of the time, If my crossover into a heavy pull looks exactly like I'm gonna go downhill on you, you're gonna lean.
Yeah.
So if you can get your moves and your shot fakes and that type of stuff to look exactly like your jumpers, you become very hard to guard because now you don't know if I'm shooting, if I'm pump faking, whatever it is. Like you see a lot of time when we play one-on-one, I'll give you one fake. If you don't go on the first one, I can give you second one because now you think he's really going on this one.
Yeah.
And then that allows me to,
KC.
Yo, KC. But yeah, that allows me to really get into anything I want.
So attack your feet, make sure you understand your space, be confident in who you are as a player, and then have your fakes be as good as the actual actions. Jabs, with your drops. I actually noticed in your setups, and I never noticed this before, but you feel extremely comfortable
I came to work out with the bros.
Oh yeah.
Yes. My car has a snack on it. It's like a roll with my snack.
That's a Rolls Royce.
Oh, it's a Daddy daycare. Well, yeah. No, one thing I noticed with you, I was looking through some of our like clips. Whenever you get to your like load step, it's always like maybe not a premeditated move, but you do such a good job of setting up your drive, like on your crosses. Like you'll cross, load, and then always be able to get to the through because you know that your shallow step of like crossing and stepping. Huh? But yeah, I was just going to redo that thing. Important concepts: attack feet, watch feet, so you know what you have. Know your spacing and what you need in order to get your shot off, so be comfortable and confident in who you are, and then make your fakes look exactly like the real actions.
Making your defender take a half step outside of what they're comfortable doing.
Yeah.
You know, if you can get your defender to just even lean half an inch a different way, that gives me an advantage. It puts me at advantage. Now I can get downhill because now you're pushing your momentum back into trying to get back into a play. Now I can hit a dead stop and go right into a shot. And like you said, like if I can get you step, I learned that from Dame and CJ. Watching those guys, they'll step like halfway outside your frame and then get you leaning back and go the other way. Now it puts you at a disadvantage as a defender because you're like, do I sprint back into a play? Do I have to get into a contest? Like what I'm now as a defender, you're always a half step behind. So offensive guys, like it's learning how to just get a half inch, get yourself half a step of advantage, you know, and that makes it a lot easier for, you know, getting your shots off and making shots because now you're shooting shots that you're comfortable shooting. So
and it's still, I mean, it's not, and this is where it's like training is great, like it's awesome. Like we've developed and advanced like a ton in the industry of training, but there comes a point where like we're in an age now where there's just so many robot freaking players like who just can do a lot of skill stuff, but they don't know how to apply it. And like that's where like it's so important to have live reps, like be able to compete against somebody, so that way you're working the mentality side of your game. And you're making the process, like you're understanding how to process and react, you know, certain situations. And you want to get your live reps so that way you can see how defenders consistently play. If you do not put yourself in live situations, you're going to get to a game and everything is going to be so foreign and new versus like putting yourself in a training sphere where you have a ton of live action competition where you see like, oh, defenders can only play like 4 types of defense. They can pressure, whether straight, left or right. They can force left, they can force right, or they can sag. And then from there it's like, okay, how best does my game translate into a defender like who plays pressure defense?
100%.
Okay, now I need to learn what works best for me. How best, like when I'm going left, what are my options? What are my A, B, and C options? Even just focusing on keeping it simple and A and B. What's my A and B option?
Right.
If I told you or me, not putting myself at the same level as you, but if I told one of us like, hey, we should do a game where we go, hey, we can only score with making it a control fade, or we can only score on a turnaround, or we can only score on a single leg.
Right.
We can access those shots. However, like whenever,
you got a whole bunch of different ways of getting into those shots.
Because it's like it's always a game of chess, but it's always like the game is really simple. We just know how to access it out of the smallest of margins.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I think in today's world of basketball, kids get so focused on the training aspect. In the one-on-one with their trainer and using a bunch of different moves, but they don't take that and implement it into live action. That's been the biggest thing that we do that I love, is the fact that everything that we do, we have our days of skill work, we have our days of shooting, but then we have 3 days, 4 days where it's a live action. And now I have to take what we've done in our skill sessions and put it into defenders, and you know, seeing where a defender's rotating from, seeing if a defender, like you said, is playing back. What am I going to do? Where they're coming from? Are they coming from the nail? Are they coming from the weak side block? It's really being able to take those things that you learn and put them into fives. You You know, it's because there's so many different reads. I was literally just talking to my little brother. He sent me a clip on him at Youngstown, and he made a great pass out of a ball screen. But he didn't understand that there was 8 or 9 reads out of it. And he thought, I was like, yes, he made a great pass, great play, he hit a shot. But now when guys get into scouting you, they're gonna take away that throwback. So now you have to understand that there's 7, 8, 9 reads out of this, and this is how you get to those certain things. And he has to learn that, he has to understand that, because now you have to take your skill work and put it into 5-on-5. Because if you can't take your skill work and put it into 5-on-5, it doesn't make any sense. All your work kind of just goes out the door. So it's really being able to implement those actions that you learn and that you put in with your trainers and put them into 5-on-5 actions and playing guard. Like, just like you, PJ's big on that. PJ always tells me, yo, go play 5s, you know? Make sure you're getting your work in, but go play 5s because you need to see bodies, you know? And that was one thing that I learned. Yeah, one thing I learned from him, because he works with James a lot. Yeah. James Harden, and James does that a lot. He goes and plays 5s, and you see his workouts with Chris Brickley. It's all live action, seeing different guys, and you know, and that's how he's so good at putting that stuff into his actions, because he does it consistently, and he sees bodies. He knows where guys are coming from. He knows how he can get into shots, and that's what makes really good players is implementing it into 5s and being able to do it when you have 5 bodies out there.
Yeah. Tea time with XRM. Yeah.